All right. What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to a brand new live stream here on my personal channel, Manny Ramos All or Nothing. So on this channel, I do pass information on I make videos on Marines, specifically military, fitness, nutrition, and also some gaming. We're gonna have a little bit of fun here. We can hang out. You can ask any questions in regards to any of that, and not only that, but also you can read it from the title. Plain old games. Plain old games. That makes me old. Plain old games. I like the whole Nintendo, Super Nintendo games. Hey, I think I was around. Oh, this is a good question because I even had an Atari, and I remember I was around 5 years old probably. I I don't remember exactly how long or when the Atari came out. You might not even know what the heck I'm talking about right now. But it is one of the first video game system consoles that you can use at home. Instead of playing in the arcade, you can play them at home. So we're going to be going through this video right here. We're going to be going through this video that I came across. And let me give a shout out to this youngster right here, because he's the one that put together this awesome video. His name is, well, I don't know his name, but his channel is Nintendo Life. Nintendo Life. You know, I appreciate this. I have a lot of respect for guys like this, because they put in some good work. He has a lot of subscribers, and he made this video a long time ago, 3 years ago, but it's still, I want to go ahead and do my reaction video on it, see if he does know something about Nintendo more than me. He should, right? This guy, you know, he even has a Nintendo Life t-shirt. So, but yeah, if you scroll down, it's right here. So Nintendo Life, he has a lot of subscribers. Now, if only they could all come to Nintendo Switch Online. Imagine that. That would be awesome. 3 years ago, a lot of comments. The people are saying the music not matching up to the actual games being shown is really messing me up. Couple of other comments. It's hard to describe just how exciting Zelda was to young people now. Yeah, Zelda is one of my favorite games as well. So I'll be playing that here eventually. I've done it before, but I need to start playing it again. Metroid, played it. Kid Icarus, played it. Final Fantasy, I was never really a big fan of Final Fantasy. River City Ransom, I gotta look at it. I'm not familiar with it. Blaster Master, yes. Bionic Commander, yes. Double Dragon, yes. And then this comment also says the NES had some classic games. Yeah. So this was an old video, but we're gonna check it out, see exactly what kind of games he's talking about that being the best. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go ahead and rewind it, and let's check it out. Okay. All right.
Back in the early part of the 80s, Atari released and rushed a batch of games that left a taste sour than a Nintendo Switch cartridge in the mouth of consumers. It was a tough time for video games, but then in the year 1985 in the US and 1986 in Europe, Nintendo went all in on a brand new home console called...
So there you go. So I'm right on it, right? I know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. I have a lot of memories with Nintendo or Super Nintendo, Atari, Sega Genesis, the Sega Master System, the Game Boy. I have a lot of stories on that. And yeah, the Atari was the first one. But then, so now he's telling us 1985. So I got the Atari around that time. I couldn't afford the Nintendo, so I started with the Atari. But man, the Nintendo, oh man, look at, let me tell you something. Let me talk to you for a minute. Hey, what's going on, Jet? Let me talk to you for a minute. Let me see if I can justify the mind-blowing experience it was when the Nintendo came out. Oh man. Oh man. We forgot about school, put it that way. We ignored school. We ignored everything around us, including our parents, siblings, Nintendo was so mind-blowing. It was amazing that you were able to play these games at your home. You know, a lot of these games that are in the Nintendo, they were all arcade games. You had to go to an arcade, those big standing consoles where there's a joystick with buttons. That used to be my second home. There was just a building full of those games. You get tokens or quarters or whatever. You're just playing there, you know, all day. So when the Nintendo came out, it was mind-blowing. It was like, wow, this guy has an arcade at his house. Let's go to his house, and you can continually get as many games as you want. Of course, you got to have that moolah. As for me, I grew up not having very much money, but I invested. I ended up selling my bike and selling the clothing on my back just to get Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. Jet says a Game Boy can go to war, but not Milo. You love my story about my Game Boy, taking my Game Boy when I went to Iraq. So yeah, let's continue with the
Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES, or NES for short. And it was a huge success, selling over 60 million units worldwide with over 700 different games available to play. Some of our favorite series got their start on the NES, and without it, gaming wouldn't be the same today. I'm Zion from Nintendo Life, and today we're here.
Oh, Zion. Big shout out to you, my friend Zion. Thank you for having such an awesome passion for the Nintendo. He looks young though. It looks like he was probably, the Nintendo was already old when he came across. Correct me in the comments. If you know him, let me know. All right, but he looks young. This was only 3 years ago.
Here to celebrate the NES and all of its efforts by sharing with you the 21 best games this VCR looking system has to offer. But the twist is that this list won't be in any particular order and was actually curated by our readers over at NintendoLife.com. So if you've got any complaints about the list, just head on over to our site, find your favorite games or any games you've played on the NES, give them a rating, and it will genuinely affect the list. Now, of course, this NES list video will be forever, but you could change the course of future videos, like our best games list for the Game Boy Color. But enough about that for now, let's see what this 8-bit home console has to offer.
All right, so first thing is Mega Man. I actually like this game. I'll be playing it pretty soon as well. It is one of the top best NES games, in my opinion, as well. So yes, I agree with that one. Jet says, how's the workouts been? Amazing. Amazing. We're installing more equipment in there. We're installing other workouts. For those that are new here on my channel, I am a certified personal trainer, and I own my own gym and boot camp training facility where we run indoor boot camp, outdoor boot camp, personal training, online coaching, and open gym for weight loss, muscle building, and overall better health and performance. That look good, feel good mentality, building muscle, weight loss, or overall better health and performance. But yeah, do you own an NES? I own 10,000 NES games here on my Mac.
Sometimes the NES can be a bit hard to jump back to, thanks to the limitations of the hardware, or just for the simple fact that this was the early days. But then you have a game like Mega Man 2, a sequel that learned from the mistakes of its first...
True. That is true. Part 2 is better than Part 1. And this guy, he's smart. I knew it. So this is a good reaction video. This is good. We're going to have a little bit of fun with this one. All right, I'm going to give you my opinion, my expertise in this area as well, my take on his information. And yeah, he's on it. They learned from the mistakes of the first part of Mega Man. Part 2, amazing. For being NES, 8-bit.
and became a timeless classic. Gameplay is tight and responsive, levels can go by quickly, and learning enemy patterns is extremely rewarding. The soundtrack is still one of the best in gaming, and for many, this was the game that made us Mega Man fans for life. It's hard to nail down which exactly is the best, but you can never go wrong with Mega Man 2.
Uh-oh. Bubble
Bubble
Bubble.
Bobble was a smash hit in the arcade scene back in 1986. So much so.
Wow. Yes. The only thing with this one, it has like 100+ levels or something like that. So it takes you a long time to beat this game, but it gets very challenging actually. It gets very challenging. One thing I've always had a hard time pronouncing the name because a lot of people think it's Bubble Bubble, like the same word, right? But it's Bubble Bobble.
That recently it made a cameo appearance in the San Junipero episode of Black Mirror. Then a few years later, after its arcade release in 1988, a port of the arcade version made its way to the NES with the same platforming, same lovable dragons, and the same bubble-spewing co-op action. Bubble Bobble on NES is easy to pick up and play, but just like anything of the era, it's tough to master. Navigating the rows of platforms and timing your jumps carefully can get tricky when you have enemies jumping around all over the screen. And in the arcades, it was the perfect quarter muncher. But since you couldn't plunk more quarters into your NES for extra tries, the game uses a password system to let you jump to later levels in the game. Not every arcade game managed to make a smooth jump to home consoles, but Bub and Bob managed to float on over just fine.
Yep. Kirby. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about in the beginning is, we were so used to just playing it over there in that arcade. And now it's like almost the exact same thing at the comfort of your own home. You can go out, ride your bikes, go out and about, come back home. Now you have like an arcade at your own home, basically. You're rich. You had a Nintendo with at least 10 games. You almost have an arcade right there at the comfort of your own home. Kirby, I was never a big fan of it. I was, it became popular, but not a big fan of it.
Masahiro Sakurai may be best known for his role within the Super Smash Bros. Series, but back in the early 90s, he gave us the perfectly pink puffball Kirby, and his first full-color adventure landed softly on NES. The overall formula for Kirby hasn't really changed much over the years. You dash your way through levels while eating enemies and trying out the new powers you gain from them. There's cute boss battles and fun little minigames to break up the action too, and the overall game is just a treat to look at. The combat isn't too tough, but just like the original Legend of Zelda, Kirby's Adventure uses a battery backup to keep track of your progress, so you won't have to worry about writing down passwords to pick back up where you left off, or just simply starting from scratch. Kirby has never really been about memorization or general skill. It's an easy to pick up and play platformer with plenty of fun to be had, and Kirby's Adventure still checks both of those boxes all of these years later.
Yeah, so, and like I said, I don't know, it just never intrigued me, but it is a good game. It is a good game. I just didn't really pay too much attention to it. I think because Mario Brothers was always out there on top of it and always made it look not as epic as Super Mario Brothers. Jet says the best game is E.T. on the Atari. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's, what will be a fun reaction video is, I think there's like a documentary on the whole Atari game. There's this big story behind it, how Steven Spielberg was actually making E.T., right? He was making E.T. the movie. The movie is amazing. We watch it at least 20 times. At least 20 times every Halloween season. So right now we have our Halloween decorations. But yeah, so E.T., Steven Spielberg, right? He he was making the movie, but he was running out of time. He was already going to release it, so he hired I'm not going to get his name. He hired this video game producer or video game, however you want to call him, but he only gave him a certain amount of time to make it. Not enough to make a whole video game, although it was on Atari, but still, it's complicated. So he told him, you got to make it in this amount of time. He's like, that's almost impossible, but I'll take it. I'll take the challenge. So he did his best, I guess. He did his best making that game in time to match it with the release of E.T. the movie, but it was horrible game. I actually used to have it in the Atari, and you'll get bored of it in 30 seconds. You'll get bored of it. It makes no sense. It's horrible. So it got a bad rep. So they got rid of it. Supposedly they buried all of them, the whole shebang, the whole warehouse, pallet filled video games. They buried them somewhere. Just says they're all in a landfill of the games to this day. That's the story behind it. I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah, a lot of people were claiming that.
While the NES may have had its fair share of beat-em-ups, not all of them were good. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project, on the other hand, is an excellent one, a smooth and solid competitor to the arcades, and the only place you can play Turtles 3 is on the NES. This game may not have the Pizza Hut product placements like Turtles 2, the arcade.
Part 3 can only be played in the NES. Probably because Super Nintendo has that Turtles in Time. So I don't know if that's considered Part 3, but this one's awesome. This is an awesome game. They did such a great job with this one. This is the arcade version. Man, hey, for being at your home, this was amazing. And of course, the main arcade one, it's even better because of the graphics and all that. But this was amazing.
Game on NES did, but I'm not really sure if those really did Pizza Hut any favors in the end. I love pizza, but we're ordering from somewhere else. The Manhattan Project follows the same framework of Turtles 2 Arcade, and while not as many have played it as it came out fairly late in the NES's life, it's become well known in the community as one of the best titles on the system. Each of the turtles are represented in full color, and while they only have a few attacks each, you can change up which one to play as whenever you lose a life. And if you can manage to rope in a friend to play with you, there's no questioning the fact that you'll have a radical time.
That's fun. I have a 7-year-old, and he actually hasn't played it in a while, but he got into Nintendo for a while. Right now he usually plays Nintendo Switch, but I ended up programming thousands of Nintendo and Super Nintendo games into the console. We have the little mini Nintendo and the mini Super Nintendo, and you can just program many games into it, and he has a blast, especially this one. He loves this one. He likes a lot of them. So yeah, they'll never die out. This thing will be played hundreds of years from now, and they'll still be like, wow, this was amazing. It's just, I don't know, it's simple but effective and challenging, and it's smooth. The graphics are, not too bad. The music is good. What else do you want? You can chill out. It's not too complicated. You get to beat up these guys, and these guys, you can see them in the movies as well. So that's awesome. And this came out a long time ago. Jet says Pizza Hut is good. Yeah, Pizza Hut is actually good. Oh, Chip and Dale.
The NES features plenty of multiplayer titles, but few offer a full-on co-op campaign like Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers does. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture any multiplayer footage for this video, but you and a buddy can team up as Chip and Dale themselves on a mission to find a lost cat. What a captivating story, right?
Pretty cool. Even the cartoon is awesome. The cartoon. This is from the classic cartoon Chip and Dale's. Chip and Dale has been in the cartoon industry for years. Actually, I think their first premiere was with with Donald Duck, Goofy, and all those Melody cartoons with Bugs Bunny and all them. So they were already there before they had that little blazer and the little hat. But yeah, Chip and Dale they've been around for a while now. They made that cartoon, the cartoon as well, the Chip and Dale and the Rescue Rangers or something like that. This is the game from it, and it's actually pretty good. I played it before. It's actually pretty good. I need to play a little bit more. If he's saying that this is one of the top 21 best NES games of all time, I need to just play a little bit more. The time that I played it, I did have some fun with it. So all these games, I'm going to make a list of them so I won't forget them. Because so far, he is mentioning a lot of good games. Kirby, like I said, I can also play it, so on and so on. But yeah, Chip and Dale.
Fully though, the platforming, box tossing gameplay picks up some of the narrative slack. This one is another tough game to master, especially by yourself, but it'll be a lot better if you can find another local chipmunk detective to team up with. Even if you're not a big fan of sports titles, you can still be a huge fan of Punch-Out. There's a lot to love with this series, especially because it doesn't really take itself too seriously. Sure, it incorporates all of the things boxing is known for, dodging, blocking, punching, and Mike Tyson, but it's more about learning the rhythm and finding the weak points of each of the dozen or so contenders on offer. Trial and error is the name of the game, and will often have you wanting to toss in the towel, but when you do finally discover the way to stop Bald Bull in his tracks or knock the shorts off King Hippo, there's no greater feeling. Punch-Out is one of those games that you can go back to,
and it's actually hard. Like if you put this in front of somebody, like I have my other sons, they're 19. They can't pass this game. I think I passed it once or twice or something like that with getting to Mike Tyson and all that, but it's hard. It is hard. I've challenged them to see how far they can get, see who can get the furthest, and they can't get too far. It's actually pretty challenging. It's fun. It's super fun for sure, and you do have to find that rhythm. You have to stick and jab. You gotta know, and then every fighter has its weakness, and they all have their own technique, their own style, so on and so on. So, and you get a power punch. So it's amazing. It's amazing.
Time and time again to discover new things or just work on your timing. And regardless of which version you're playing, the duo that is Little Mac and Doc Lewis will always make sure you're having a good time.
Castlevania, yeah.
Any game that gives their main protagonist a whip will instantly get them compared to the likes of Castlevania. And for good reason too. Even to today's standards, jumping and slinging your whip at floating Medusa head.
This is a good video right here. He's doing a great job, and I think he said in the beginning that this has been voted on the main website of Nintendo or something like that. So yeah, and these are amazing games.
Heads at brick walls to check for chicken, or at Dracula himself, still feels fluid. Back in the 80s, Konami took the tried and true legend of a bloodthirsty vampire, implemented some new monsters, and a family to hunt them all down, the Belmonts. Enemies do have a tendency to spawn at an alarmingly evil rate, but thanks to a generous checkpoint system and continues, you'll have enemy patterns and secret item locations memorized in no time. Are there better Castlevania games? Sure. But even if you come back to the original to see how things all started, we'd be damned if you didn't enjoy yourself on the quest to slay Dracula.
Yeah, it's good. This one, I do not know. Just by looking at it right there, I do not know what it is. Something with dragons, right? But hey, and he's bringing it up as one of the top 21, so teach me something.
The Dragon Quest series may not have been as well known in the US back in the day.
There you have it. That's why, but it's probably a really good game. And I never played. It looks like Zelda. You look at these stairs. Oh, you can't see my pointer, right? There's some little stairs over there by the bushes, top right in the middle, in between all those bushes, there's a little stairway. That's almost the same exact image of Zelda, for Nintendo.
But over the years, the series has gained quite the reputation, and it all started on the NES. The fourth entry, which released in the States as Dragon Warrior 4, is a sprawling tale, allowing you to follow the adventure of multiple characters throughout the story. Smash players may recognize one of Hero's alt skins as actually the main protagonist of Dragon Quest IV. You'll likely have a better time playing through the remake on DS, but until this game gets re-released in some capacity, we wish you the best of luck trying to find either versions at a fair price.
Yeah, so with that one right there, I don't like role-playing games. I don't like role-playing games. It looks like a role-playing game. I've never really liked the whole role-playing game. Zelda is not necessarily a role-playing game. When it comes down to, like, look at the Pokemon video games that are out there right now. The majority of them are role-playing games. You choose your attack, and then they attack, then you go back and forth, so on and so on. I ain't about that. This is amazing. This is amazing. Can't believe how good they built this game here. Man, these developers, beautiful creation.
NES is ripe with movie tie-in video games. You've got Friday the 13th, Karate Kid, Cool World, Jaws, the list goes on. And most of these kinds of games you won't actually want to play, as they're pretty awful. And then you have Batman the video game. One look at the cover and you'd think it was based more on the film of the era, starring Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. But beyond a few quotes and pixel art renditions of the film, if Batman wasn't in this game, it could have been anything. Having been developed by Sunsoft, the team behind Blaster Master, this is a tight and responsive action platformer with unexpected boss fights, unique levels, and incredible music. The Arkham series wasn't the first time a Batman video game surprised us all, and hopefully, it won't be the last.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, so far so good. Jet says, any more food reviews? I'm debating. All right, so there you have it. We are 1/3 of all 21 games. I want to cover maybe 7 at a time on these live stream episodes series. So up to you. Let me know what you think. Hit the little thumbs up button so I can know which videos you like best. Give me a comment, question, or concern down below. Leave me a comment so I can give you a shout out next live stream and say what's up. Other than that, I hope I see you in the comment section. Take care, be safe, stay motivated.